how would you grade Oregon's student section? I mean, they started off the game with Caleb Love,
Yeah.
Caleb, and then second half they switched to RJ Davis.
Yeah. I didn't, that's funny. I didn't even hear that because the way they said us is so far up and we're sort of behind and in the corner of the students. I didn't hear that, but that's hilarious, actually. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I always go back to that 2018 game they played there when it was the night after ESPN had that report that Sean Miller was behind DeAndre Ayton allegedly being paid, and they threw out white powder. They threw out they had signs with hundred grand candy bars. I think because the allegation was that Ayton got 100,000, which in today's NIL
Yeah,
environment is actually kind of on
underpaid.
the low side. But and they just rode him all the game. He had a tremendous game, by the way,
Oh
but
yeah,
they rode him, and it's nice to see. I mean, not nice for Arizona standpoint, but it's nice to see in general you have that kind of environment because that's really what college basketball is about. And Oregon's one of the, unfortunately in the Pac-12 anyway, not that many teams left that allow their students to sit on the court side like that, and it really makes a difference. I mean, they just and in that particular environment, even though that's a newer arena, they're pretty close. And if they yell stuff like that, those players they hear every word,
yeah,
whether they admit it or not.
right. And Love was going back and forth with the crowd whole game. Eventually got a
Yeah,
free
he
throw.
yeah, he did it early and I wondered, I didn't hear what they said, but I know he's like that. He did that at Duke actually, but he waited the Duke game, he waited till the end when it was over and he kind of like waved goodbye to him.
Right.
Where this game he went at him right away, which was
Yeah,
a little
immediately.
bit
Yeah.
surprising. But that's he's got that in him, and that may come back to burn him. But honestly, that's I mean, again, since they lost Matherin, they kind of didn't have that guy who just is like, get out of my way, I'm going to win the game. That's his mentality. Whether he's going to do it or not, I don't know. But he's got that in him, and he's pretty talented too,
Right.
obviously.
So my next question is about, because this show we focus mostly on college basketball, but then when the season ends, we flipped mostly to the NBA draft. And so the two prospects that I like the most on this Arizona team are Caleb and Keelan Boswell. Interestingly enough, I usually do a survey of about 7 or 8 different sites outside of ours. No one has Caleb Love in their top 100 beside us. And Boswell, he's pretty highly ranked. Depending, it's somewhere between late teens and early 50s. So that's a pretty wide range. But
Yeah,
on the average, it's, let's say, around 30.
right.
Um, and you know, my thoughts, I really don't understand why nobody doesn't see. I mean, Caleb Love was a 5-star guy. I'll tell you right now, he was in the composite rankings. Caleb was 14th overall as a freshman coming out. And this is a guy that used to be on draft boards with regularity. And then last year, when North Carolina went down the tubes, no North Carolina player was showing up on anybody's draft boards.
Yeah.
So my question is, am I wrong to think? I mean, Caleb Love to me looks like it. I know he's not efficient, but to me, he looks like an NBA player. With Keeland, I still think he needs another year.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing I would like to see Keelan do more with that sturdy, strong body, I'd like to see him attack the rim more. And I think he would have so much success doing that. Right now he shoots a lot of jumpers. But I wanted to get your thoughts on these two guys in terms of the next level.
Yeah, no, it's actually interesting hearing your thoughts because I'm kind of wondering those kind of same things. And I think we'll start with Boswell. I mean, it's kind of a cliche around here, but he's only 18. That's what they love to say. Last year was like he's only 17 as a freshman. You know, it's just it everybody knows that here, but it kind of is true. And I think that's one reason why he is rated, some people rate him high because he's still got a lot of upside and potential and years to develop. You know, so that's interesting. And also last year too, last year was kind of a wash for him because he broke his foot heading into the year. He didn't really get a preseason. He really didn't get he didn't hit his rhythm until about this time of year last year. and then that team was having trouble. So it's really only, and this year he's been, a bigger factor, obviously, and made some big improvements. But he's, there's been times when he's lacked a little confidence, I think, and both shied away from jumpers, and like you say, he doesn't attack the rim much. And I think maybe that's a function of the team he's on this year, because they have so many other guys who can do that. So I think he's kind of deferring a little bit in that sense. But if he does come back, it would definitely be, yeah, I'm sure that would be something he would do. He certainly, you would think he could do it physically. He's a well-built, tough kid. Works super hard and all that kind of stuff. So there could be that. It'll be really interesting to see if he does decide to leave and just test himself, because now we've got this dynamic where, yeah, they can go in, and even if he gets a two-way or exhibit 10, he can do pretty well, but the NIL money is pretty darn good, and you can, arguably make as much, if not more, if you stay. So, and if he thinks he might develop better here, that could be part of it. But I do think, he was expected to leave. When he came here, it was like a one and done. And then when he reclassified, then it was like, okay, he'll stay 2 years. And this is that second year. So I don't think he'll stay, but if he does, then yeah, he's, that would be interesting to see if he develops that. And I think, I think Lloyd would want that if he did, because, Lloyd, like a lot of coaches, is trying to get these guys to do, especially if he can get something like Love and his inefficiency, and convince them that if you do this, it will not only help you and help us, but it'll help your NBA stock. And I think he could convince Boswell that maybe adding a little more offense to his game in that way might be helpful. And then with Love, it's just, I don't know. I think your perspectives, you guys, and I think people who have the perspective maybe out east or in the Midwest, or other parts of the country, might have better than I do, because I just feel like, at least from what I've heard and seen, that I think he kind of got scapegoated there at North Carolina, and didn't play very efficient, and he had a bad year. And I don't know, I wasn't there, but I from what he's told me and what I've heard, that I think he just got in it was a tough situation, and he felt a need he's told me anyway, he felt a need, because the team was struggling, that he really had to force it, and try and score a lot of points, basically. And even if the situation wasn't there, whereas like at Oregon the other night when he scored 36, it was there, and he took good shots for the most part. So I don't think he did last year. And I think maybe, I don't know, maybe that context, if that's true, was lost on a lot of people, projecting, thinking that maybe he is inefficient. And then on top of that, he's a 6'4" shooting guard. So you guys know how that is. They can be a dime a dozen, unless you're super, super skilled,
which I think he is.
Yeah, and exactly, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm not a scout, but if I had an NBA team, I would think he would certainly be worth an early to mid second round and a two-way deal, and just flip a coin and see what you can get out of him. And and he's got, I think he's got that potential. But maybe and it'll be interesting too, because I think if he continues to play the rest of the season like he has this month, then I got to think he gets back there, because those guys are watching. And then if he can show some more efficiency, and then it'll be a case of what he can do in the workouts and all. But I just, bottom line is, I just feel like last year really hurt him in a lot of ways, and he's, that's a lot to overcome, and that's a super high profile place. If you're going to be a scapegoat, and people hating on you or whatever, North Carolina is probably a pretty tough place to do it, I would think.